thank you very much for joining us today. Some of you come from very far, but even the one coming from Paris, Hugues, thank you. So we have Mircea, CEO of Moven, Ricky, CEO of Tandem Bank, Valentin, CEO of N26 or number 26, I never know what, N26. Hugues, CEO of Compte, and Ken, CEO of Lunar. All different geographies, as you can see on the slide. I won't repeat it. And all quite different business models. So we'll discuss that today. Beneath all my question is what we discussed a bit before, and I already say, I don't know if you were here when I was with Stefan, but I am sometimes a bit skeptical about the neobanks model in B2C markets, knowing the money you need to invest to have high volume of customer and the reluctance of customer to pay for services. So at the time, we all need to earn money. So behind a lot of my question, you will find that. So it's beneath everything. I will first begin because I know you very well. For those you don't know, you have a book with a nice paper on each of them. But I think the best thing is to begin by, for each of you to take 2 minutes to present who you are and what is doing your company in your specific geography. So please, Mircea, and we do that.
So Moven in the US runs a challenger bank or neobank. We acquire customers under our own brand. The same software that we use to run the bank in the US, we sell to banks white label worldwide. We have 4 banks as of now. In total, we have about 1 million customers using our software today. So 2 businesses, the neobank and the software sales to banks that want to accelerate the deployment of digital banking technology.
Oh, sorry, before we keep, which one is doing more money?
Which one is?
Which one of the 2 businesses is doing more money?
Moven is doing both.
No, which one is doing more money?
Oh, the software sales is doing much better than the neobank. That's pretty clear.
Thank you. I knew the answer, but
yeah.
Ricky?
Hi there, guys. Ricky Knox, founder and CEO of Tandem Bank. We are what we hope will define next generation bank, which I can expand on further. But Neo. I don't like Neo so much.
You don't have Neo. So we come back to next generation. Please.
Hi, I'm Valentin. I'm the founder and the CEO of N26. We are the biggest neobank and the bank of the next generation in Europe. We have over 200,000 customers, of which 30,000 already here in France. We've just recently launched on the French market a couple of weeks ago. So we see a tremendous pickup. We see that people are ready to move bank accounts. I think we have built kind of the future of banking. I think most of you who work in banks will know our app because most of your development departments will have had a look at it. And I'm very happy to be here and I'm very happy to have a lot of customers.
Just one question I forgot for all of you. How much money did you raise for your project until now?
So until to date, we've raised over 50 million euros.
108 million.
$24 million, US dollars.
So some pocket money. You can answer the same question every time. Hugues?
Okay, 39 million for us.
And present yourself.
Euros. So we are in the IBAN business, International Banking Account Number, and people can open their account at the tobacconists at the shop around the corner. So we did start in February 2014, and we open now something like 26,000 accounts a month, one every 30 seconds, and people can open their account in 2,200 shops today, and we open 100 new shops a month. This is 25 a week, and 25 a week and 5 a day. So one new shop every hour, and 1 new customer every 30 seconds. That's what we do today. People have an IBAN, have website, all the devices, make direct debits, transfers, pay with their card, have their balance.
And
so
you can't open online. It's always in the shop the first time, is that?
Always in the shop for compliance issues and for business model issues, because when you are in the retail, you don't have to spend too much money for the cost of acquisition of customers, for advertising, SEO, etc. So it's a question of business model and compliance.
Thank you. Ken?
Hi, I'm Ken from Lunar. Lunar is a Nordic banking service, so we do banking services in Denmark right now, launching in Norway and Sweden in a couple of months. We have a rather specific model where we don't have our own banking license, but instead of just using one, we have national incumbents as banking partners. So we have a Danish banking partner, a Norwegian and a Swedish banking partner, and tend to put a lot of focus on brand. Our average user is right now 21, so we really try to put a strong effort on brand. We probably in response to Valentin being the biggest, we are maybe the smallest neobank in the European Union, and raised 5 million euros so far.
So as you can see, quite different models. So can we come back to you, Ricky? 1 minute, you said you are not a neobank, bank next generation. Tell me a bit more about what will be your bank.
Okay, so I mean, neobanks been used pretty broadly across a number of, prepaid players with bank licenses, without bank licenses.
Light banking, yeah.
The other term, sort of challenger bank, which has been used for some of the really large old-fashioned banks in the UK. Neither of those, I don't think, really sum up what the opportunity is, because I think from our perspective, the role of the bank is changing, and the technology we've got facilitates a completely different approach from banks, and an ability to be much more integrated with the way people live their lives, and not just to sell them the existing products and service it through a mobile phone, which is where obviously the market is today.
What does that mean concretely?
What was that?
What does that mean in reality for your bank? I mean, if I am a customer, what do I have to really different?
So an example would be you have a life experience. Let's say it's a holiday. Now a holiday has a financial journey that's associated with it. That might be saving up for your holiday before, taking a loan to actually be able to afford the holiday, making sure you have the right instruments, a credit card, or a debit card that won't overcharge you overseas. There might be an insurance product associated with that. You might take some travel insurance out, and then you'll have a journey out the back end of potentially repaying that loan, etc. Right now today, most people would handle that journey in a suboptimal way. They wouldn't be advised. They probably don't bother saving. They bang it on the credit card and they pay it back over 24 months at 27% or whatever it is. We see if you have sufficient trust with the customer, all of that could be prompted ahead of time, and you could provide that combination of instruments on a sort of one-click, pre-authorized basis to help the customer do a better job of the financial journey around their holiday.
All about the journey. And you, Valentin, your definition of your innovative bank?
So I think it's not something that is completely abstract. I think what we try to do is we try to build a bank that you would build 2015, 2016. We try to build it as when you use Uber or when you use Spotify. We just try to build a great digital experience. And as easy as that seems to be, I think it's a lot of effort in the back end. We got our own banking license from the European Central Bank. And I think it's a lot of the systems in the back end that enable a great customer experience in the front end. And I think on top of giving you a great experience in how you manage your account, so meaning your card, standing orders, international transfers, and everything that comes around account and payment, we just recently building up every dimension of a traditional bank. So we do credit, we do saving, we do investment, we do digital insurance. And we try to there leverage all the innovation that is out there. So I think what you see at that forum here is that every dimension of a traditional bank is attacked by unique companies, unique startups that normally deliver a product which has superior value to everything that is out there in the market and is great and has a great digital journey. And what we do is we integrate these companies into our platform and together with products that we launch ourselves where we think we are competitive in some fields and therefore give our customers a one-click solution to all their financial problems.
Which product do you think you should keep inside?
So, for example, today we've launched an overdraft product, so short-term consumer credit. That's a product that's on our balance sheet. It's a high-margin product. You have to know the customer well to predict his credit scoring, and therefore that's a product that we do on our balance sheet. We've partnered, for example, with TransferWise for international transfers. So when you do a transfer out of our app with one click, in the background is executed by TransferWise. So it depends completely on the product, how complex it is to build, what's the margin in that specific area, and then just our team and we decide together on if we think we can be competitive in a certain area, And I think still, if we have our own credit product, we will still bring other credit products on our platform. So we always have to be competitive. And I think that's one of the big mistakes that a lot of the traditional banks have done over the last 10, 20 years, is that they are always pushing forward their own products. And I think you have to be competitive, and also your company has to think in a competitive way.
So either you know how to do it well, or you buy it elsewhere. You do it with a partner.
Yeah, it's very easy what you said, but in the end, it's a question of, for example, a lot of things that we have experienced is we have tried to partner with a couple of companies in different areas, and in the end, it's about the digital process. So it's about how well are these products today in a digital world. And what we figured out with a lot of more traditional players, but also some startups, that there's still a lot of offline parts in, you know, getting a credit or signing up to, I don't know, to other products, like a saving product or investment product. And I think there we figured out that most of the time when it's really about a digital experience, then sometimes we are in a position where we can deliver better customer value than actually existing products.
How are you seen by the other bankers, classical bankers in the geography you are launching? I mean, nice discussion, competition, hard competition?
So I think everybody has to answer for itself, and I think the audience here is mainly also coming out of more traditional banks.
Many banks.
I think what we have achieved, and that's something that I'm very proud of, is that every bank in Europe, every C-level of a bank, especially if it's working on digitalization, takes us as an example for digital banking. I know that, for example, the Sparkasse in Germany, the big retail bank, is working on a mobile product, and internally the name for the product was N27. So I think so. What we have achieved over the last years is kind of set a new standard in mobile banking. I think that's great, and I think it's an opportunity for all banks out there to do something similar.
Same question for you, Ricky. How are your classical banks in UK are seeing you? How are the discussions? It's tense or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the UK banks are at quite an early stage in their journey in terms of, not just in terms of digitization, but in terms of the way they're thinking about it. I don't think they feel very threatened right now, and definitely there's a lot of outreach, to create, incubators and sort of engage with the fintech community. I mean, I think, we're not at a point where we'd want to, or it'd be appropriate to, have a sort of partnership with a large bank. We think that would be quite counterproductive in terms of, our degrees of freedom, and we want to reserve the right to bash them a little bit in the press if we want to. So, I think
you're still playing a bit with them.
I'd say it's sort of largely cooperative, but actually not actually, ever really engaging. I talk to them socially, but I don't, we don't sort of publicly.
Did some of them, like for Moven, we'll come back to you just after Mircea, but did some of them for you, or you called you to have your technology or to integrate a piece of what you are doing in their system?
The short answer is no. I've definitely had, conversations with people like Barclays who sort of have an incubator, and, the guys who run that program, which is quite a separate part of the bank, are very curious to understand how our tech works, et cetera, et cetera. But no, we haven't been contacted by a major bank.
So I would say we are in frequent contact with most of the big banks in Europe. We are in frequent contact with the telco companies around Europe.
But right now you focus on B2C.
Absolutely.
You don't do so. And so we listen here to people who are doing mainly digital on mobile. So you truly believe in phygital, in being in the shops.
Yeah, everyone can develop the technology he wants, can have the device he wants, the journey he wants. It's very easy to do mobile things, and maximum 6 months development for everything, and every option that the customer can have. So we didn't come from what does the customer use to get access to his accounts, but from who is the customer and what does he need. And in finance, you just have 3 needs. The first need is to have an account, just to be paid and to pay. It is a need for 100% of the people. The second need is to finance your project, to have access to credit. And in France, you have 47% of the people who have a credit. To have a credit, you need to have a regular wage. You need to earn more than more or less 2,000 euros a month. You have 9 million households, and the others are consumer credits. And the third need is savings when you have more money. Reality is that you have half of the population who has projects, who can save or who can borrow money. And you have the other half of the population who just need to pay and be paid. So the first thing was to have a client journey that was very easy, just like Uber. You take your app, but you have a taxi coming in the street, in real life. And thus, you take an app, and you have a tobacconist at the shop around the corner, and you open your account in 5 minutes, without condition of revenues, without condition of spendings, without condition of savings, just with an ID and with an address. And people just want to pay and be paid. And if you take the 10 deciles of the population, the needs in terms of banking are very, very different, depending on how much do you earn, how old do you are, extra. So when you have a model of cross-selling, you are elitist. You cross-sell with people you can cross-sell with. Overdraft, and overdraft are very expensive. And going over its overdraft authorization is very, very expensive. And people, today, the majority of the people, don't want to spend more than what they have without thinking about it. I agree to spend more than what I have because I want to change my car. But I don't want to be in a relationship where when I look at my balance, it's not my bottom line because I have pending operations, because I have charges I was not waiting for. They want to know exactly where they are at every second and to take the control back on their life.
But I can do that with Valentin Bank or with Tandem Bank without needing a network of sales.
Yeah.
You choose a model where quite hard to develop sales shop.
We could do exactly the same, full online. But when you are full online, you advertise, you pay SEO, you have marketing budgets. If you are free when you open your account, you don't make money with that. How do you have the payback on the customer? With cross-selling. And if you want to cross-sell, you have to target a segment of the population where you will be able to cross-sell. And then you will create value in the time, and it is a respectable model. We wanted to have a model where the model could work on its own without cross-selling, with no free lunch. People pay a 20 euro bill to open the account, but with no traps, with no hidden charges, with no cross-selling in the back of the customer.
Can I just quickly ask you a question? Obviously online you pay a CPA, and that may be search, it may be all sorts of other things. But your shops have an overhead. There's a number of customers that come through them. I mean, that's a customer acquisition cost. And in most cases, I don't know, in your model, maybe you end up making that a lower customer acquisition cost. But that's the same customer acquisition cost that the banks suffer. In their case, it's sort of hundreds of pounds or hundreds of euros to acquire a customer. How does it work out on a per customer basis?
So the cost of acquisition of a customer is 12 euros. And
does that include the rent and the salaries?
Everything. Now we have no rent, no salaries because they have their own shops. They sell tobacco extra, so we are an additional product to them. And we give them a punctual fee to open the account. So this is a real question. So we have the payback of the cost of acquisition when we have the 20 euro bill when they open their account directly. If you are an online bank in France, the lowest price to acquire a customer is 200 euros. You have the payback after 3 years in terms of net banking income with cross-selling. So you close a huge fraction of the population when you have this kind of full online model.
Valentin, how much did you pay for those 30,000 customers?
0.
And you? You begin, so.
82 pence a customer.
Yeah. How come we have so different price? I mean, every time I listen to that, so perhaps they are lying, I don't know, I don't check the account, but every time I'm listening to you, the cost of acquisition is just below anything. And every time I'm listening to French actors, we are not so many, sorry, but it's very high. What?
But I think you have to completely differentiate, and that's what you said in the beginning. I think it's completely about the segment you want to reach. And I think you're a little bit focused on a different segment than, for example, we are. For us, it's the digital natives. And for us, it's, I mean, we have our main customer base in Germany, Austria. We've now scaled to 15 countries around Europe. And then on top, Germany and Austria, so 17 altogether. And if we would have to build up retail networks in all these countries, would obviously be quite difficult and quite cost intense. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, our account you can open up in 6 minutes completely online with a video conference. Our customers love to open up these accounts that way. But I think we're also looking at alternatives like partnering with shops where you maybe can pay in cash and pay out cash. We've done the same thing in Germany. We've partnered with 8,000 retailers and replaced ATMs, so you can actually pay in and get cash at 8,000 retail shops, the biggest supermarket chain in Germany, for example, with our account based on a QR code. So there's always cooperation. You have to think about what channel you use for what, and for some target groups it makes sense to have offline presence, but for us it's online.
A question about international. You are launching the same offer in every country? It's exactly the same app, or you adapt?
So I think it makes sense to launch the same product and the same look and feel in all the countries. I think that's the big advantage of digitalization. You have one app store or two. You have the Google Play Store and you have the App Store from Apple, and you have to have mainly two front-end products, and they can be the same in all the markets. I think what is a little bit different is obviously when it comes to credit products, because risk scoring is different in every country. So risk scoring in France is different than risk scoring in Germany and in Italy. So you have to adapt the products, but from the look and feel, they are the same, but the risk scoring is maybe a little bit different. The same, I think for saving products, investment products, it's again very similar in all the European markets, but still I have to say that the regulation, unfortunately, is not the same in all the European markets. And I think the European Union has much more to enforce that everything is the same in all the countries.
So we have one big regulation, but plenty of adaptations, is that?
Absolutely. So especially when it comes to consumer protection, every country, and it's France, it's Germany, it's Austria. Every country thinks it's unique.
So big budget for legal more than for acquisition.
I don't think so, but it's still it's obviously a challenge. I mean, we have a legal team, but it's not too big compared to corporates. I think it's still small. It's a couple of people, but it's still something to go. And in the end, I think the consumers are suffering because they, for example, if you look at IBAN discrimination, so a lot of companies around Europe don't accept international IBANs. So if you have a German IBAN and you try to sign up to service in France, then it's sometimes not working, although it's against the law.
Yeah, totally true. We know that. Ricky, another one for you, quite the same. Do you think you can succeed in the long term without any real network? I mean, only online?
So we've already, I mean, we did a deal before Christmas, which we PR'd with House of Fraser, which is a retail network that has stores in every large city in the UK, which will include them acquiring customers on our behalf. So
how will that work? I mean, they will sell the product, or how will that work? I mean, for the customer.
Actually, they'll install the app on people's phone, and then the app actually, acts as the conduit for whatever products you need in your life.
So it's a click and mortar with a partner.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that's necessary, but what it does is allows us to accelerate. They've got 17 million customers coming through their stores every year, and 2 million that are part of their loyalty program. They're going to be migrating those guys, straight onto our app and acquiring more for us later.
Ken, your model is a bit different because you mentioned that you have a software, then you work with a local partner where the banks, but the brand is yours.
The brand is ours, yeah.
The brand is yours, and the customer are yours.
Yeah, so I'm just waiting for Matthias from Feeder to scream, "It's a pig with lipstick," as he's normally saying on conferences. But I think that it's interesting because we actually changed partner bank when we launched in Denmark. We started with a very small incumbent, and then at a certain point we grew out of them. We had more users than they had clients initially.
But legally speaking, a customer is to the bank owning the accounts. I mean, if I am a customer, I'm signing TNCs with a bank which is behind.
Yeah. And
at the beginning, when I signed with N26 the first time, there was another later behind, you know.
I think the positive side in regards to operating in the Nordic region is that we have access to all the infrastructure that's actually not that bad. So you're signing on with Lunarway, but you're actually an account with the partnering bank on the backend side, but you only see our brand and you only see our card, you see our application. The funny thing in regards to changing bank is that we moved our entire client portfolio from one bank to another without asking the initial bank.
No.
So with that sense, we control the user.
And how many banks are you working with? You said you have...
So we choose to have one in each country, like a solid bank. I think when we change bank from the small one to a big one, we also open the dialogue with more tier 1 banks in the Nordic region. So I think we want to keep on with one solid partner per country, even though we could have more on the back end.
And same question, you are only online or you have also some partnership perhaps to distribute? You are only online for the distribution?
Yeah, full and only mobile. We don't have any browser-based solution either.
It's only mobile?
Just native applications.
Okay, and last but not least, as you discuss with banks to choose a partner, do they sometimes want to buy your software also?
As with the other guys, I think we're always in dialogue with most of the bigger banks in the Nordic region anyway. So, but I think our strategy is to continue just with our brand and not white labeling it.
So now we have another one with another strategy, Mircea, who have his software and sells his software. So can you tell us a bit more about Moven? You are quite the old guy here. Moven was launched when? When was launched Moven first time?
So Moven was founded about 4 years ago. But the current instance is about 2 years old. So we've been running in the US since 2014, so 2 years and a little bit. We started selling software about a year ago. And while we see all the challenges and very similar questions that you all are trying to answer, we've been trying to solve them in various ways. So our collection of customers, they've been acquired in different ways. Yeah? So first, we tried digital advertising. After that, we tried PR. After that, we tried partners, and so on. So we have customers coming from all of the above at different cost of acquiring. We don't have...
Sorry, how many customers in B2C do you have?
About 60,000 today.
60,000?
60,000, yeah. And it's a different situation in the US, yeah, compared to yours, because the US is an overbanked country. You can go into any branch and open a bank account in 10 minutes. Everybody has 3.4 bank accounts. It's not a problem. Yeah, it's a different product market fit than what you see. So you go and say, oh, I moved from Prague to London. I cannot open a bank account. In the US, you don't have that problem. So I think we all have to figure out what will make people change bank accounts or switch a banking relationship. And while similar to all of you, we've looked at improving the banking experience using a mobile app, making it very easy to use, very easy to open. A new bank account takes a couple of minutes. Simplify the whole interaction. Lately, we've been looking a lot at helping people move beyond mental accounting. Yeah, what you see when you say, okay, how much can you spend? Do I need a loan or not? Do I need to change jobs and get a higher income? All this people do in their head, software can help them make those decisions. Yeah? And while, yes, you can go and take this bank product and that bank product and put all of them under one platform, this is trying to replicate at a much lower cost and a much better customer experience existing banking products. So from this point of view, I agree with Ricky. Neobank, challenger bank, we don't challenge anything. Yeah? Fundamentally, banking did not change, and we don't change it. Yeah? We still make money, if we can, from fees and from net interest income.
Do you have fees? I mean, do you give everything to customer, or you have fees?
We don't have fees right now, and I think that has been an experience that we are not going to repeat. Yeah? I mean, some of my colleagues, they say, it's no fees, but somewhere on the website there is the schedule of fees. Yeah? So it's all part of the message. Yeah? I don't think customers can expect to have full banking service for free, yeah? Unless the government will run it, but they will still pay for it through their taxes. Yeah? So banking is not a charity. And while it was a good customer acquisition strategy in the beginning, we don't think it's a long-term solution to never charge anything for banking. We also, and this is something that's in a sense unique to us compared to you, we realize that if we want to do something worldwide, we cannot go and get a banking license in 150 countries. So that's why we are licensing our software white label. So while we are not in Europe, we will be in Europe because we talk with very many banks in Europe about launching in various countries. But of course, it's not going to be under our own brand. We'll not have a customer acquisition problem. We'll have build value in software.
If I understand, sorry to mention, but you did a pivot because you had a strategy of B2C, but due to whatever reason, the result economics are not really there.
It's the same strategy. It's direct to consumer, or we sell to banks the software that they give to their customers. Yeah, it's not a back office software. It's customer facing. Yeah, the advice is what we call financial wellness.
Okay. And sorry, the same question for all of you. Are you product, sorry, I didn't install Tandem, don't kill me. Is it for free or I have to pay something?
Tandem's free right now.
It's free for right now, but it's free because it's launch period, or you announce already in the TNCs that after 6 months, 1 year, I don't know what, we'll have £1 a month or whatever.
Yeah, we will have a subscription charge in the long term.
Okay, and sorry, I didn't check recently. For you, Valentin?
You mean on?
If I am subscribing to N26, do I have to pay something?
So we have a free base product. Obviously, you have premium options, so you can upgrade your car to Black model. But I think reducing the discussion to is there price attached to something or not? I think in the end
it's not reducing. It's just asking the question.
Yeah, I think it's about the value that delivered to customers.
Value is great.
And I think the problem, especially in the US, is I think none of the players there ever went from being a prepaid card with like an app to being the full banking experience. And in the end, to earn the revenue out of customers, this sustains a business model in the long run. First, you have to go for millions of customers. And second thing is you have to have a decent product portfolio that goes beyond offering a card. So that's why it makes sense. Like if you're focusing on card business, to do that more white label. And if you're focusing on card business and build the things around, you can build a sustainable business yourself.
No, sorry, my question was badly asked. Everybody knows you have a great product. You mentioned that many banks are looking at it. Question is, to make money at the end, someone needs to pay. Today, to use a product is almost free. I pay only in some premium.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination of, I think, obviously, if you use a great product, you should also be paying for parts of it. But I think because you use modern technology, you can actually offer the base product for free because your retention cost, your cost for the IT infrastructure, the team, and so on are much lower than compared to traditional banks. But obviously, if you use TransferWise over our platform, the average fee is 6 times lower than with a traditional bank, but still we have a revenue share with TransferWise. There is still a fee, but the fee is very transparent. It's very, very, very competitive, and I think that's what it is. You have to deliver better service at competitive price.
Yeah.
And,
but it's not all for free. It's not all for free. There is no free lunch at the end.
If you have a business model in general where you can have everything for free and it still works out, sometimes, in
early
Fintech,
on, we have a lot of product where it's free. That's why I'm asking the question.
Early on, it was a little bit different. Early on, the merchants paid for it. So especially in Europe, there was quite a normal interchange. Recently, it was cut by European Union that the interchange is capped at 0.3%. So therefore, the card business on its own is not 100% sustainable if the merchants are not paying for it anymore. So that changed a little bit the business. But I think in the end, if you deliver great service, people are also willing to pay for certain products they're using.
Laurent, back to, the main way banks make money is net interest margin, between lending and borrowing. And ultimately, you don't have to have a monthly fee to make money in banking. There's a very large revenue pool out there, which you can take advantage of. However, it may be that certain services are high enough value that people do want to pay, on a monthly basis for them.
And one more thing to add. I think if you let's say you offer your products at like 30% more competitive price, but you're operating at 20% of the cost, then you see that this is at some point like paying out for you. paying out for customer experience because you can invest in better people and in your staff, better offices, and so on. And it's paying out also, obviously, for the investors who put money in. And that's why it's attractive, actually, for a lot of not just customers, investors, but everybody in the ecosystem.
That was exactly my point. Yeah. So 0 means that you are operating a charity. Low fees, like 30%, like $3, not $10 a month, combined with the fact that we don't have hundreds of branches, physical locations, and we don't have high salaries or high bonuses, yeah, makes us profitable.
I forgot to ask Ricky, in which geography do you want to launch?
We're launching in the UK.
But in the near 3 years, I mean, do you have planned for further?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of watching and waiting to see what Theresa May does in her Brexit negotiations before confirming which way we're going.
We have some apartment nearby there. You can you can find a place. We have many people here who can help you with that. By the way, as you speak of Theresa May, any opinion on the impact of Brexit on your kind of business?
Well, to the extent so I have other businesses as well. Asimo is a remittance business helping immigrants send money home. That's going to be majorly impacted. My own personal view is I was devastated by Brexit. I absolutely hated it. It was a very upsetting period for me. But I think ultimately it looks like the direction's being taken. Now there is an opportunity for the Parliament to reject Article 50 at this point because the High Court's ruled on that. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a lot of political will to stand up against Brexit in the political community in the UK at the moment, which is a shame.
Thank you for the clarity of the answer. Sorry, I come back to the less political stuff, but more money. Ken, I don't know the business model for you. Is it free or do you have charges?
For the time being, it's free. I think I read an interesting survey this morning because traditionally all banking activities has been free for the initial phase in Denmark. And the survey this morning showed that last year, 11 Danish banks had free banking services, like free accounts and cards. This year, it's 3. So I think even for the incumbents, the free model is disappearing slowly. So, but obviously, in the initial phase where we're competing on those terms, and as Valentin said, you're building product, so you're getting to the phase with the product that the bank says also, we have a free model.
So I think you already gave the answer on that. You have a cost in your service.
Yeah, yes, I think people are smart, and they know that there is no free lunch. And so there are no free lunch with us, but you have to have fair price and no trap. When people pay, they are the customer, they are the client. So you have a proposition of value, which is very, very different. They pay for a service, and they are the customer. Fair price, when you pay 20 euro a year, it's 1.67 euros a month. So lower than the lowest telco, which is 2 euros a month. So it's not a deal, but it's a psychological move that is very, very different. People have to understand how you make your money. You need to have transparency. We are transparent. We publish our prices. We have a very small range of prices, just 5 prices, and we tell our margins. People understand how we make our money. It's transparent for everything, and will be profitable after 40 months after launch, so next June. And it is very important to have a trustable, for a long time, model where the relationship with the people is very clear, very transparent, very responsible. People don't care that we make money. They want to understand. And this is the key point of the model. And they want to pay just for what they use and no more. I just give an example. People in France make 25 withdrawal at the ATM a year. Our basic service, you have the MasterCard, the website, the transfer, whatever, for 20 euros a year. And we charge people 1 euro per ATM withdrawal and 50 cents if it is at a tobacconist. And people ask me, why don't you charge 45 euros for the card, just like every bank, and have the withdrawal free? And the answer is very clear, and this is the philosophy of the brand. Because people who don't make any withdrawal, millennium, young people, etc., don't have to pay 45 euros. And people who would make 80 withdrawal a year don't have to pay just 45. So you pay what you use, you know exactly what you pay at the very moment, and you have no trap. We have this price range, we have this clear, transparent relationship with customers, and we open 26,000 accounts a month.
We're almost out of time, so for the last few minutes, Valentin is one of my best supporters. Last year, it was great because you made a promise on stage, and you kept it. That's good for Twitter. I have a nice video of him saying, by summer, I will have my license. So what promise do you make for next summer? Like that I can tweet it again, you know. So I don't know, how many customers, how many new countries?
Okay, with the license was a tight race because you have the regulator in and it's always hard to predict.
Oh, but you made it.
Well, yeah, we made it. So for next year, I think...
Smile to the camera, please.
For next year, I hope at least we will have more than 100,000 customers on the French market.
That for France, I love my country. And in Europe?
In Europe, it's get harder and harder to predict, yeah, because there are more variables in that calculation. But I don't know. So I think we will be very happy if we can reach a couple of 100,000 customers over the next year. So we've more than 200,000 today. I think if we in a couple of years get like to 1 million, I think we would be very happy. The whole team would be very happy, and it would be a great statement for a challenger bank to reach that customer number.
Sure. Just to remind some few figures that you know, Hugues, Boursorama, which is our leader bank in France for online market, take 10 years to have 1 million customers. So we see the new kind of traction. We have this new player. Do you have a project for the next year when you are on that stage back? Can you tell me some achievement you will have done by then? With a microphone in order to record it.
Yeah, I need to figure out what I can say. They didn't warn me on this one. I think in terms of from where Tandem is, I would like to first of all have proved out both the combined sort of retail partnership model, and have acquired a substantial number of customers in that channel, as well as proved out the direct acquisition model. If you were to ask what's in my business plan, it's a very small number. I have to hold capital against that number.
You are very reasonable for the beginning, you mean?
Yeah.
Because you raise a lot of money, you have a license quite quickly.
Yeah.
But very reasonable in the figure.
Yes.
Can you help me raise funds?
Sure. Maybe that's my promise for next year.
Mircea.
We have two sets of objectives. Yeah, for the bank in the US, actually we are not focusing on the number of customers, but on drastically reducing the cost of customer acquisition. Like the challenge for us is to make it 25% of where we are now, so 1/4, to also increase the lifetime value. The challenge for the team that I gave is we have a target of doubling that by the end of this year. Naturally, organically, we will grow. So we'll be past 100,000, and if some of the actions that we are taking in customer acquisition will succeed, we've tried very many ways that we can share with you privately, we can get past that number easily. On the B2B side, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, we are offering to banks in Europe and in Asia our experience of running a mobile-only digital bank for the past several years. You can think that we have 60,000 beta testers all the time, every month will come with new features. Exactly the same software we offer to the banks that may want to accelerate. We've talked with banks that want to do it themselves, and they have the 100 million euros to do it. With us, they can go live much faster and at a fraction of a cost, less than 10%, and 100% chance of success. So the objective this year is to grow from 4 banks, as we have now, to 10 banks by the end of the year in Europe and in Asia.
Ken, if you come back next year, what achievement in your bank?
Yeah, the achievement the coming year. So
yeah.
I think first of all we want to secure like a solid position in the Nordic region. For the time being, we're the only one launched in Scandinavia. So I think there's plenty of opportunities to grasp for there. And then secondary go for launching all of the financial products that we're launching with our partnering bank on the back end.
That's for you.
So we'll reach 500,000 customers mid-February this year. Target is to go up to 1 million by next spring to 2018. Will be profitable this summer. I think that our business is the IBAN business. I said you have 71 million IBANs in France. I think that all in all the online banks, all the neo banks have 3.5% of this market today in France, with Orange coming, number 26 coming, other coming. I think that all the new models will reach between 10 to 15% of the market by 5 to 10 years. And we want to be the leader of this segment and to try to reach 5% of the market. That's our goal.
Thank you to all of you. I want a big applause for these people who are doing the banks of tomorrow. And whatever the future, don't forget that all the projects we see in big one, even Orange that were before, are also sometime coming because they see what they are doing. They are working days and nights for that. Thank you very much for coming again. Thank you, Ricky.